Rolex just celebrated 100 years of the Oyster case, and honestly, some of you are going to be furious. While one watch on this list is an undisputed masterpiece, another is quite possibly the laziest anniversary release I have ever seen in my life. Today, we aren't just looking at photos, we're putting the 2026 catalogue through the shredder. Who's a grail and who belongs in the garbage? Let's find out. Welcome back to Luxe Pulse. After the dust has settled at Watches and Wonders Geneva 2026, we finally have the full picture. Last year's technical breakthrough with the Land Dweller set the bar high, but this year was all about the crown looking inward. We have 7 major releases to tier rank. We're looking at heritage, technical audacity, and future resale value. Tier 4, the safe deposit box, the bottom tier. Let's start with the one that hurts, the OP36 with the multicolor dial. Look, I understand that the celebration bubble dial of a few years ago was a viral hit, but this, it feels like Rolex is trying to catch lightning in a bottle for the 3rd time. Technically, the process is impressive. The colors are applied in multiple stages, but aesthetically, it's cluttered. It lacks the tool watch soul of the brand. In a year that marks a century of the waterproof Oyster, this feels like a distraction. It's a watch people will buy just because it's a new Rolex, only to lock it in a safe for 5 years. For me, it's bottom tier. It's forgettable. Tier 3. The waitlist fillers, solid but not special. Next up, the improved Yacht-Master 2. This is a redemption story. Since 2007, the YM2 has been the loudest watch in the catalogue. The 2026 update is sleeker and the new movement is a technical marvel. But let's be real, it's still a regatta chronograph. It's a niche within a niche. It's better, yes, but it's not moving the needle. And the Datejust 41 in white roll saw with the green ombre dial. It's beautiful. The new concentric spraying technique for the black to green gradient is masterful. But it's a Datejust. It's the safe bet. It's a tier 3 watch. You'll be happy to own it. It will hold its value, but it won't make your heart skip a beat at a watch meet. Back to the board. Yacht-Master 2. And Datejust 41 slide into Tier 3. Tier 2, the future classics, the high tier. Now we're getting into the heavy hitters. Rolex finally did it. They took the entry-level Oyster Perpetual and gave it the Midas touch. The 28mm and 34mm models in solid yellow or Everose gold with blue and green stone lacquer dials are incredible. Using natural stone for the markers is a disruptive move for the OP line. It's Rolex proving that small doesn't mean simple. Then there's the 100th anniversary edition OP41. I have seen the comments. Some say the 100 years signature at 6 o'clock is too subtle. I disagree. This is peak Rolex. They didn't put a giant 100 on the dial. They replaced Swiss made with a secret handshake for collectors. The two-tone execution with gold, reserved only for the bezel and crown, is a masterclass in quiet luxury. This is a Tier 2 watch that will be a massive collector's item in 2036. And finally, Tier 1, the God tier, the Holy Grails. If you have the capital, these are the only 2 watches that matter this year. First, the Day-Date 40 in Jubilee Gold. This new alloy is a game-changer. It's warmer than yellow gold, but softer than rose. But the dial? Bright green Aventurine with baguette diamonds. It looks like a slice of the cosmos. It's elegant, it's rare, and it's arguably the most beautiful day-date released in the last decade. But the king of 2026? It's the Daytona Rolesium Enamel Rolex went full high horology here. A Grand Fou enamel dial on a steel and platinum case with a tungsten carbide ceramic bezel. That is a flex that Patek Philippe should be worried about. It's priced at £56,000, but on the secondary market, expect six figures instantly. This is the Grail of Grails. It is a perfect 10. So, that is my list. The Daytona and the Aventurine day date are the kings, while the Jubilee OP dial. Well, let's just say I'm not a fan. But the internet is already losing its mind over the OP41 Anniversary Edition. Some of you think the 100 years text is a stroke of genius, and others think it's a lazy way to mark a century. I want to hear from you. If you could only walk out of the AD with one watch from the 2026 collection, which are you choosing? And am I being too harsh on the multicolour Jubilee dial? Let's settle this in the comments. I'll be down there replying to the best takes. If you want to stay ahead of the pulse and know which watches are actually worth your money and which are just hype, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We have a full price analysis of the new Daytona coming up next, and you do not want to see the projected resale numbers. Keep time beautifully, and I'll see you in the next one.